Hello. Well, it's been a long time since we've been in the office, it feels like. Been in the car a lot doing these videos. But today I am in the office because I have a special video for you if you are struggling with affirmations. And really not just with affirmations or robotic affirmations, but really with any type of manifesting technique where you feel like it's gotten stale. You feel like while it maybe used to do something, it no longer does. You feel like maybe you've had success before with it, but you no longer do. Or maybe you're just here because none of these techniques have ever worked for you and you're wondering why. Well, Papa Bear Tim has a solution for you today, and I'm glad to be sharing it with you here in the office. If you don't know who I am, my name is Tim Grimes. I am a coach, counselor, and writer when it comes to metaphysical, law of assumption, law of attraction type concepts, linking them with stress management and overall well-being, including spiritual well-being. I like to say this channel starts usually where most YouTube channels end when it comes to this subject. And that is probably particularly true when it comes to affirmations and robotic affirmations. For those of you who are new here, my favorite manifesting type of teacher is Emile Coué, who was a wonderful French, you would basically call him psychologist, even though he didn't really use that term. Wonderful French psychologist from about 100 years ago, who was far more successful in helping people heal from their problems than pretty much any of the much more famous, prominent law of attraction teachers that came after him. And Coué understood autosuggestion, or affirmations, as we like to call it these days, better than anybody. And robotic affirmations are a popular concept online in 2025, or if you're watching this later, 2026, 2027, I assume they'll still be popular. And there are teachers online like Sammy Ingram who give a lot of good advice when it comes to robotic affirmations. But what most people don't understand is that robotic affirmations and this whole idea of saying something over and over and over again was really explained thoroughly by Emile Coué over 100 years ago and explored by many of the people who worked alongside him, including the guy I'm going to be speaking about today named Charles Baudouin, who wrote a book back in, I think, like 1920, right around there, called Suggestion and Autosuggestion, which is a dense book talking basically about suggestion and, again, what we like to call today affirmations, and how we suggest things to others, and more importantly, how we suggest things to ourselves. And here's the thing, guys. Emile Coué, Charles Baudouin, many of the psychologically minded people in the medical and spiritual establishment back 100 years ago understood and articulated this stuff 10 times better than someone like Sammy Ingram, let alone all these jokers copying Sammy do today in 2025. I speak about affirmations in a much more down-to-earth manner, in a much more practical manner that you can probably use better than pretty much any of these other folks, because I am going to the masters from 100 years ago who actually understood how to get this stuff to work for normal people like you and I more effectively. And the way robotic affirmations are being taught to you these days sucks for the most part. Sammy has some good advice. There's some other, creators out there that have some good advice about it. But the problem is most of you don't understand the psychology behind robotic affirmations. And if you did understand it, you'd feel a lot better about utilizing them or not utilizing them and using a different tool instead. In the description of this video, I'm going to put a link to over 100 videos we have done on the teachings of Emile Coué, including many, many videos linking Coué's teachings with robotic affirmations and how to better robotically affirm or affirm in general. I'm also going to put that link above. Some of you can probably see that in your video. Please understand, the way these robotic affirmations are being taught to you today, generally speaking, is shitty. And it's full of this fanatic sensationalism and cult-like toxicity that is absurd and ridiculous. If you are a mature grown adult or even a teenager who has some common sense about them, you should not be using affirmations in such a fucking dumb way. Be smart, be intelligent. Don't just be mentally intelligent, be intelligent with your heart too. Okay? Have mind-body coherence. That's the kind of stuff we talk about on this channel. So what I've done since Charles Baudouin's book, Suggestion and Auto-Suggestion, is a tough read. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not an easy read. It's old. It's wordy. It's translated. I want to give you a Google Doc with some of the main points that Baudouin mentions here that are going to make it so you enjoy doing robotic affirmations, regular affirmations, or whatever technique or approach you are using to manifest a better life more easy for you. So if I can figure out how to use the share screen, which I've had some success doing recently, I'm going to share with you some of these principles that Baudouin talks about. I'm also putting them below in the description. Link is in the description to this Google Doc, okay? So I'm just going to go over this quickly. Please look at the link in the description for a more thorough explanation. Here are 5 gentle principles from Charles Baudouin to make you manifest better, okay? And certainly affirm better and robotically affirm better if that's what you like to do. Point 1, don't hold on. Let the tone echo quietly. Baudouin writes, the suggestion must not be fixed in consciousness as a logical idea. It must be lived. These are all hugely important points. This is maybe the biggest point that Baudouin makes in his book that people do not understand. When you are affirming or doing any type of manifesting technique, it is action. And that action is alive and it must be lived. If something feels dead to you or too sterile, and it continues to feel that way, if you are affirming for weeks or months on end and you feel dead inside by doing that, or don't feel good or expectant, you should stop robotically affirming, guys. You're not meant to repeat a phrase all day long. At least most of us are not. It's not natural. Can it work for some people? Absolutely. Will it work for most of you? Absolutely not. Now, I believe wholeheartedly that robotic affirmations are a worthwhile technique. But if you are hoping to just say something all day long and have it change your life, you are probably in for an unpleasant surprise. It's probably not going to work. What Baudouin's saying here is much more practical and effective. Let the tone you create through your affirmations, through whatever LOA technique you're using, let that session accompany you throughout the day as you go through the rest of your day, not using any techniques. Like a faint scent in the room or a background melody you don't need to hum. That usually is a better way to utilize techniques. If you're always thinking, oh, I have to do this technique, I have to do this certain thing, I have to affirm, I have to affirm, I have to affirm, so it comes true in my reality, you're fucked. That's not going to work for most of you. And even if it works for you once or twice, it's not going to work for you long term. Let your earlier insight that you got by using an effective technique tint your mood, your walk, your way of listening. Don't analyze or reinforce, just live with it. Guys, you can always come back to your technique later that day or tomorrow. If you're just repeating something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because Sammy or someone else told you that that was going to solve all your problems, and you're not feeling different from doing that after a few weeks, maybe stop. Maybe do something more intelligent, okay? Point 2, use passive evocation, not forced repetition. Baudouin introduced passive evocation, evoking the suggestion's presence indirectly rather than commanding it to return. So this is important to talk about here, guys. Coué always said that your imagination is running the ship, okay? You can try to will something into being. You can try to use willpower. But as Baudouin coined it, that is what's going to happen then is the law of reversed effort, which is as long as your willpower is running against your imagination, your willpower is going to lose. Your imagination is always going to win. Your effort, your mental effort, if it is not aligned positively with your imagination, is going to lose. The idea is to have your effort, your willpower align with your imagination. And that is how great things happen, how great things are manifested. This is why Neville always spoke about how imagination was the overriding power. I don't care how much effort you are using. If your effort is, if you're trying hard, but if your imagination is saying something is not going to happen and cannot happen, it's probably not going to happen, guys. So what Baudouin's saying here is it's more important to, evoke a feeling in passing by listening to music you like, or reading a statement or writing something down. It's more important to do that than just trying to say something over and over and over and over and over again to make it change. The reason robotic affirmations do work well when you're saying something over and over and over again is you lull yourself into a hypnotic state where you say something so many times repetitively that after a while you stop trying to make the thing happen and you simply say it over and over and over again. It truly is hypnosis, guys. You're hypnotizing yourself. And if you get to a place where you're saying something over and over and over again, and you're no longer wondering, trying to make it happen, it's more likely to be implanted in your imagination or your subconscious. But this is often easier done simply by having things that evoke the positive feeling you want, the expectation you want, like listening to music that moves you in a good way, or writing down a phrase or reading a phrase that moves you, or the certain way that something felt or smelled when you felt good. That often is an easier way to lull this hypnotic expectation into being than just saying something robotically over and over again. Again, I'm not saying you should not robotically affirm. I am saying this is not about effort. It's about resonance, okay? Not about effort, about your imagination, about resonating with what you are imagining, what you're imagining. Point 3, avoid over-verbalizing and mental chewing. Trying to keep an affirmation alive with constant mental effort kills the mood. Same with any technique. Any assumption that you're trying to keep alive through mental effort is bound to fail if your imagination negates it. If your imagination is saying, this is not going to happen, it's not going to happen. You can try, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, I'm trying hard. Your imagination is saying, no, it's fucking not, and it's not going to happen. It dulls the spark. Trust that a 3-second felt remembrance, something that resonates, is more effective than 300 affirmations. Often it's more effective than 3,000 affirmations. This is real talk. The soul doesn't need convincing, it just needs space. Space to imagine pleasantly, to be lulled hypnotically more into what you want. This is why something like SATS, a state akin to sleep, which is something that Baudouin spoke about and used that term 20 years before Neville was speaking about it, can be so effective. A hypnotic trance-like state that you can induce yourself into expecting something you want, imagining something you want. Point 4, trust the rhythm, not the intensity. The suggestion, whether it's through an affirmation, a visualization, a journaling exercise, whatever, doesn't need to be lit like a flame all day. It can rest. What matters is the rhythm across days, weeks, and months, not perfection within hours or only a few days. This is the whole thing. And again, the Neville community mistakenly, gets this wrong. And Neville didn't do himself any favors by saying, walk in the mood, and not giving really clear directions always as to what that meant. The problem most of us have when we want something and we're affirming it is we might feel good when we're affirming it for a bit, like we have it, but then we feel like we don't have it. So the majority of our day is actually thinking about how we don't have it. Even though we're no longer affirming, subconsciously, what's going on in our mind imaginatively is we don't have it. So we actually are affirming we don't have it, not that we do have it. The idea of robotic affirming, when it's done correctly, is you affirm something so much that you're thinking about it enough that the general theme towards whatever you want, like better health or I'm now in a lovely relationship, is more dominant than the negative imagining against it. So in other words, if you say, oh, I'm now in a lovely relationship, I'm now in a lovely relationship, and you say it to yourself enough and convince yourself enough throughout the day, then the times you're thinking you're not in a lovely relationship are not as much as the times you're saying that you are to yourself. That's the idea of robotic affirmations when you do it correctly. But what often is more helpful is to just bring it up. And this is what most LOA and law of assumption type of teachers say, bring it up during SATs or during a short, meditative exercise or affirmation period in the morning, middle of the day, and in the evening, perhaps. And then let it go the rest of the day to the best of your ability. The problem, of course, is most of us have trouble letting it go. We think, oh, I'm in a wonderful relationship while we're meditating for 5 minutes in the morning. But then the rest of the day, we're thinking about how we're not. Again, all these exercises are trying to get you so you're thinking either not about the subject or about how it is going to happen, or how energetically you can already feel that it has happened. And not to be overrun by the negative imagining saying that it has not happened. But often we are obsessing over something, and our imagination tends to obsess negatively about how the thing has not happened, not how it actually is going to happen. Again, this is what Coué and Baudouin make very clear, and they say you can rest. It's more important to just implant it slowly, softly, for days, weeks, months, and perhaps years on end, as opposed to try to bash it all in there in a day or two, and then when it's not in there, when it hasn't happened yet, being like, why hasn't it manifested? That's why you always hear in manifesting circles, people talking about planting the seed and then giving it space and water and sun to let it grow, and being patient, not expecting your manifestations overnight. But of course, all the clickbait bullshit we see online is always like, manifest your guy overnight, your girl overnight, $1 million in 3 weeks. It's all fast fucking microwave bullshit. Not to say that stuff can never happen, but chances are very, 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 very high it's not going to happen to you. That's not what this is about. This is about fulfilling long-term application and integration of these ideas. That's what we talk about on this channel. That's what I coach people on. That is what this stuff is about. Point 5, try a carrier image. Sometimes a feeling can be linked with an image, a light, a breath, a landscape. This carrier can gently bring the tone back later of what you want without any effort. Again, this is just your imagination in action, guys. This is like visualization or anything else. You imagine a certain thing, feel a certain thing, put your hand in a certain position. It helps bring back the feeling of what you want, the feeling of the desire being fulfilled, right? Here are a few other things. Bonus companion, between sessions checklist. Again, link is in the description for this whole Google Doc, guys. Please look at it. Don't just watch this video, because this stuff is helpful to go back to and study again and again as needed. Here's a gentle rhythm to carry with you. Growth is unfolding, even when you don't feel it. Okay, that's an important thing when it comes to suggestion that a lot of you don't recognize. Let the tone accompany you like a scent. Smile when you remember what you want or what is happening. Notice alignment, not outcomes. In other words, don't be looking for signs. Just notice how you feel, and feeling spaciousness, feeling good. If doubt whispers nothing is happening, let it pass. It means the old pattern is dissolving. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Resistance is natural to change, guys, okay? Let resistance come and then let it go. Continue the rhythm of bringing back what you do want. Hypnotize yourself more and more each passing day and week into getting more and more of what you do want in a powerful, loving, wonderful way for all involved. Your only task, gentle rhythm. Trust a tone to return on its own through regular suggestion, i.e. affirmations or any other manifestation exercise you do over days, weeks, and months. And to quote the great Emile Coué, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. So I hope that this short presentation of these 5 gentle principles by Charles Baudouin has been helpful for you. And I want you to know that robotic affirming is not magical. It's psychology, deep, underappreciated psychology. And that deep, underappreciated psychology can seem magical because it's so cool and transformative. These teachings are awesome. Study them, live them, integrate them. If you need help, link is in the description. I'll gladly give you a 20-minute free consultation if you're serious about integrating these ideas. And please pick up the Charles Baudouin Google Doc so you can have it as a reference in the future. Until next time, be good. I'm going to put a bunch of Emile Coué videos as well on the side so you can look at those later if you want to look at them as well. Enjoy.